Hey AfterBuzzers, welcome to an all-new Shadowhunters after show here at AFTERBUZZ TV. We are so excited to be back, and tonight we're going to be breaking down Season 2B, Episode 11, titled Mea Culpa, and we have special guest Alberto Rosende here with us in the studio, not over Skype, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, our awesome Shadowhunters fans. Thank you so much for tuning into our after show here at AfterBuzzz. I'm your host, Sam Davidson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SamD43. And as promised, Alberto Rosende here in the studio. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you for having me. It's the third time, so I'm third time's a charm.
I know. I was like, he must love us or think we're crazy stalking him at this point. Maybe a little bit of both. So for everyone, where can they find you on social media?
Social media on Twitter, I'm A Rosende. On Instagram, Alberto Rosende, and then on Snapchat, AC Rosende.
Awesome. And of course, we have Becca Brown here with us.
Hi, so happy we're back. You all can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV.
And Dakota isn't here this week. He will be back very soon. He sends his love. He was really pissed at me that I scheduled you for this week. And he goes, "Did you do this on purpose?" I was like, "Why would I do this on purpose?" So he's very sad. He sends his love. You can find him at Dakota T. Jones. Mr. Dakota T. Jones. Mr. Dakota T. Jones. He'll be so pissed if I mess that up. So we are back.
We're back.
Season 2B. I'm so excited because last year, when we had the first season, it was 11 or 13 episodes. 13. So we had no idea that we were not only going to be getting it back again, hopefully, but double duty.
It's like having two seasons now, almost, in one season, and even like the journey of each season is just as big and as fast-paced as our first season was, which is kind of it was a wild ride. It was really cool.
I was gonna say, y'all are up to like Pretty Little Liars level now, because they have that many episodes per season.
Yeah, it's a real huge thing, and it just keeps on getting better, and special effects are getting better. Everything is just awesome, and I'm so excited, and I'm excited to talk about tonight's episode, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Really into it.
That was actually the second time I saw it last night, because they screened that for us. And the first time you ever watch an episode, when they screen it for us, they don't have the visual effects in. Sometimes they still haven't done ADR. So we'll have a conversation, then suddenly my voice, like, I'll stop talking, and you'll hear me say, like, "No, Clary, don't." But it's like a sound person. And so it's like a weird way to watch the episode, because you get like half of it. You know what it's going to look like, and it looks great, but you don't get all like the little details.
Yeah.
So to see the details last night was actually, I'm really excited.
Did it really make this episode, you're like, wow?
Oh yeah. And I thought the pace of this episode was crazy.
It was.
It seems like, I was talking, last when I saw Kat and Emrod, we were talking about how this season is like a roller coaster. 2A was like building, and then 2B is going to be the
fun
plunge.
and scary plunge.
Exactly.
Ooh. What did you think, Becca?
Well, already, speaking of scary, when they were torturing Valentine, I was like, this seems like a Harry Potter scene, like, with Voldemort or something.
Oh, with the wand and everything? Yeah, it feels like that.
Yeah, for a moment, actually, I thought Hannibal Lecter. I definitely got some Hannibal Lecter vibes. Yes, that was very cool. We have a ton to talk about. Let's start off, of course, with Clary, Simon, and Jace, who likes to kind of just insert himself a lot there lately.
Yeah,
rude.
Yeah, he seems to kind of pop up whenever
things are
whenever Simon's getting lucky.
Whenever Simon's just in a really good mood.
Yeah, and Simon's in a really good mood right now.
This is like one of the best places we've seen Simon in a long time.
It scares me.
Yeah.
I never like to see my characters too happy, because then I'm afraid it's just gonna get worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of the thing of our show, though.
Yeah, any drama.
Yeah, we all know that if it gets better, it's just gonna get just as worse.
A roller coaster.
Yeah. Exactly. And
Jace is, trying to respect your relationship.
Yeah.
Trying.
Right, trying. If that's his best, I guess, Simon's perspective. But yeah, he is. I think it's also because he really, like he said it in the episode to Alec, he's like, no, Clary's been through so much. And that's where you know that he really cares about her. He's like, she has so much stress to deal with right now. This is the one thing she has that's, like, really good. So let's not mess that up. And hopefully it stays that way. And
do you love this Jason Simon? Because I think we made a ship name for them last year, actually. We're like...
Jaimin.
Jaimin, yes, Jaimin. They're just a giant ball
I was gonna
of fun.
I was gonna say like
Almost. I like that one.
I'm just, it's just keeps on coming tonight. But yeah, the two of them are basically hating each other, but Simon's so nice to him, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at this point, he was like thanking him. Remember, he
Yeah.
was like, dude, you literally saved my life. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I got some cool powers that are actually pretty cool. So we're cool. Promise.
I want you guys to be friends, but I
To
feel
get
like you'll
along.
never be friends.
But I feel like the fun of it is that they're not friends and they argue and
Yeah, they're
like the
the
argument.
unlikely friends. And I think that's why it's cool. Because I think eventually they will be. I don't know if they... I think Clary's like one of the biggest obstacles for
Yeah.
them being friends. And if that ever becomes something that's not an obstacle, they might have that opportunity.
Yeah. I feel as though Jace's character treats your character, Simon, as though he's an annoying little brother he doesn't want to show that he kind of likes and thinks is a little funny.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time he laughs or almost does something, he stops because
He has
thinks
to
you're
knock him right
annoying.
back down a peg. Because
Yep.
he's like, I don't want you to know that I think you're cool.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly.
it reminds me of people hate when I bring this up here, but it reminds me of like the Twilight relationship between Edward and Jacob,
Yeah.
you know?
It is kind of, I'm not going to lie, it's a love triangle.
It's a love triangle, so it has those similar themes of
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
the competition, but also like the brotherhood because they both care about the same person. And it's a very complicated set of feelings. All
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
My feelings on Kleiman though is that I don't think they should ruin the friendship.
Well, they've already done that. They've...
I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of past.
And I think that's one thing that Simon was really aware of, and that's why it took him so long to finally dive in, was because of the fact he knew that as soon as they did that, the foundation of their friendship was gone, because they decided to do something else. They changed it.
Yeah.
And they almost like elevated it to this level where they're on a bridge and it's like shaking, and if they make it across, it's cool relationship-wise. But if not, they could fall and lose everything. And that's what that's what he's really afraid of.
Yeah. And, dying, hopefully.
And die.
Well, he's already kind of done that.
You're right.
He's
dying
like been there,
missing.
over that.
Dying again.
Yeah,
dying for a
again would
second
be
time.
Brutal.
So Jace takes Clary away to go see Valentine, Valentine and Inquisitor Herondale. And they're trying, like we said, they're trying to get all this stuff out of him. And he hasn't told them yet that they're related.
Right.
But we still know, especially from the scene at the beginning of the episode, that it's very much on Jace's mind. Alec knows. And I like that we did get reminded of that. But Jace is trying to stay quiet.
Yeah.
And this whole thing with Valentine, it all is kind of, I'm like, you know how sometimes when people fake it, they're, oh, I'm sick, I can't move. And they're the ones that really end up kind of, I always think Valentine has another plan. So
He does, probably.
I think that's one thing we always have to think about him, because Clary and Jace like reiterate it all the time. It's Valentine though. Be careful. It's Valentine. We have to worry. Remember, but it's Valentine. He's thinking 3 steps ahead. So I think that's something they're always aware of. But then again, it's Valentine, so
Exactly.
his plans are not always only 3 steps ahead.
I mean, villains are smart.
Villains
Yeah.
are, yeah.
Smart
We
as
kind of have
villains.
to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we had a very brief mention of Alder Tree in this scene, that he is being reprimanded.
Right.
He is in Idris faction
Yes.
reprimand. Yes. So he's not going to be here for a while.
No, he's well, because everything that happened in the Institute, everything that happened with Izzy and everything, they had to get rid of him.
Yeah.
So now, Inquisitor Arendale's back in the Institute, kind of in charge, and then who takes over the Institute is also going to be like, who's going to be the person to step up into that place? Is someone new going to come in and step into that place? We don't know.
I wish they could get someone they like. It's always someone
Right?
everyone hates.
It's always, but that always creates like that dynamic where you really see, there's a cool dynamic with them where they always say like the law is the law, but they always have like their personal morals come before that.
Yes.
They constantly break that rule, although they say it.
It's like the
all
royal
the time.
family. Kind of. Sorry.
No, but it's cool, and I'm excited to see. I think you guys will enjoy watching that whole struggle of the Institute and what happens there. All the
Yeah.
Shadowhunters have this whole ride they take this season. Yeah.
I also think if they get someone like nice, that I'm not gonna be able to trust that person
See,
at all.
that's the
either.
problem. If they're too nice, then you're like,
I'm gonna be like, sketchy.
Oh, I'll fall for it so fast. It's terrible. I will.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. I'm the worst. I will be the first to fall for it. But not falling for Azazel Azazel.
Azazel. You got a second time. Azazel.
Azazel. You guys, I'm so sorry. I have tried to say Azazel. I'm doing it now a million times today, and for some reason my brain doesn't want to say it, but I just did. So we have Azazel. We meet this dude for the first time. He's looking for the sword. He's very scary.
Yes.
And kills a lot of people.
Yeah.
Second
Like just the hand thing.
In my notes, I at first put, does he put everyone to sleep, ? And then a few minutes later, I go, oh no, they're dead.
Well, it was funny because when we first watched the episode, that scene with Azazel where he walks in and he does all, none of the magic was there, none of the other special, like, visual effects. So literally, all you see is just like, he goes like this, and then everyone in the restaurant just starts to like fall. And it actually looks really funny without the visual effects. You're like, what's going on? Are they just like, it looks like they're just falling into their food. But yeah, he's someone we have to worry about for sure.
Yeah, I would be a little bit afraid of him. And we get Clary and Alec, Jason, Luke, and they all go to the bar afterwards, and they're kind of examining. And I love that scene with Luke talking to his where his new partner comes over to him and goes, are you talking to yourself? Yeah. And then you realize
I love that they brought
all...
that back in.
Yeah.
That was the first time we've seen a glamour in a few episodes. So.
Yeah, it has. I like that we're being kind of reminded of the world that we're in, which is awesome.
It was like one of those, and that's one thing that I think we'll see more with Ollie. She's such a cool character. I like her a lot. You'll see her kind of remind you that we are in a world that exists with two worlds. And I think that's what that did. It was like, oh, don't forget, the Shadowhunters live in another world that exists in our world, you know?
Yeah.
There are two worlds coexisting constantly.
Yeah,
and I feel like we forget sometimes.
That's very true. Because again, how long has it been, do you think? Because in tonight's episode, Raphael said it's been, 2 weeks since you've been a vampire? I think he's under-exaggerating.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to be like, you don't know anything. He's like, well, it's been more like, 40 days, but it's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What? Something like that.
Yeah.
But at the end of this episode, I did think about Ollie. I at first thought that, I am going to like her. She's nice. Maybe she'll fall in love. And then by the end, I realized, I'm stupid. I fell for it again. I think I'm falling for it again. Those characters, like just the ones we were talking about. Perhaps.
That's interesting. Cool.
But she could be a red herring for the season. I don't know.
Well, like, Sebastian seemed nice at first.
Yeah, he did seem nice.
How charming is he?
So charming.
And also, I'm not gonna lie, when I saw Set Deck, when they showed me his apartment, I was low-key kind of mad that his apartment's like cooler than everyone's.
Well, it's definitely cooler than yours.
Yeah, Sebastian has like the coolest apartment.
Canoes.
I live in canoes, and we got to see the boat basin kind of fixed up.
Yeah, it looked a little bit like flashier.
He's got all of his band stuff in there now. It's starting, made a little homey.
Yeah, should create a new band called Canoes.
Canoes. Maybe. You know what? I'm going to talk to Kat about that.
Yeah.
We have a list of band names.
Okay, yeah. Definitely put that on the list.
Yeah, we will.
So we see Luke and Maya. We have Maya back. They have, made things okay with her. She's kind of back on our side.
I love it.
Yeah, I do too. We need an ally for Luke, and he didn't have one. And the wolves are threatening to kind of overrun the entire thing and kick Luke off of being the head of the pack. And it just, I feel bad for Luke. He has so much on his plate, and he's still grieving.
He's Luke's journey is one that, especially this next season, you guys it's one of the coolest ones, and you get to really see him go through a lot. And I think really take a stand of where he's going to stand in this world, like where he's going to be. And instead of, I feel like right now he's like a boat in a crazy ocean, kind of just bouncing around to different things and different responsibilities. And it's going to be cool to see him settle and figure stuff out.
Yeah, and I do think that character of Ollie is going to be one of those things that perhaps is bridging the two worlds. And just want to mention about the picture that she took, though, of Maya and Luke. At the end of that scene, you see her playing dumb, essentially. And then you see her taking a picture of Maya and Luke. So I don't think you can say anything, but Becca, what did you think of that?
Honestly, don't know.
Okay, here's what I thought. I thought that she's working for somebody, or somebody has made, like, a human has kind of put her in the role of his partner to investigate him, because let's be real, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with Luke. If you're a human and you're looking at Luke's life, you'd probably think something...
He's crazy?
Yeah, something really
he's
bizarre.
Very private.
Yeah, he's very private. Next, of course, we have Simon. He has so many ladies. I'm so worried about Simon losing Clary because I know it'll be devastating to him, but Jesus. I mean, it just proved in this episode. I was like, there's just so many girls for him.
I like him with Maya, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I know that a lot of people like that, and that's a big talk. But we also got a mention of Maureen, which I always appreciate. And
well, that mention was very much, you see that she doesn't really want to be a part of Simon's life anymore.
Yeah.
And it was funny because, you know, as an actor, you get the one side of the conversation because Maureen wasn't really on the phone.
Right.
So you have to kind of decide what she's saying. So she was not very happy at all about everything that had gone down, the fact that Simon hadn't been a gentleman or called or even texted just to be like, hey, we used to talk all the time when you were in my band, but now we don't talk for, like, days.
Yeah. What do you think she said exactly? And then you go, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, if you put yourself in Maureen's shoes, there's this guy who's, like, the nice guy, the guy that you, like, trust and respect, and he's a good friend, he's a close friend, and then he just kind of goes AWOL, comes home, hooks up with you one time, and then never talks to you again. That's, don't let anyone do that to you, ever. It's not good.
Unless he turns into a vampire, give him a little bit of slack. You know?
But for the most part, Simon's very aware that that's not a Simon move. That's not a good thing to do to people. So he knew that he was repairing that relationship, that friendship, would already be like pushing the ball uphill. Yeah. And Maureen made very clear that that's not. She doesn't let herself be treated that way.
Well,
which is very admirable for Maureen. You know,
good for her.
Yeah.
And honestly,
poor Simon, another person that.
Yeah, she's better off, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, she might get killed.
The last time a mundane hung out with people in the shadow world didn't go too well for him.
Yes.
You know, so.
What was that, Becca? It was that was a oh god, yes, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Yes,
that was
like
translation.
Squealing.
Translation.
Wow.
Right there.
That was a noise I think we should like re-watch on the internet and put it into like
it should be like a soundbite for things.
Yeah, that's what we should do at the end of every
really
show.
High pitched.
So yeah, then Maya and Simon, like we said, they have an interaction and they're chill again, and I liked how Simon forgave her right away. She goes, "Oh, you still hate me?" Because I don't hate you. Just don't do it again.
Don't do that. Like, that's uncool.
Yeah, not cool. And I think everyone understands where Maya's coming from, which I like because I was worried about that.
Well, I think that's one thing Simon's. He's good at being objective when it comes to stuff like that. Like, I get why you felt you need to do that, but then again, like, uncool. Don't do that.
And Maya preached to Simon. Like what you were saying at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean,
trusting thing about everything going great for Simon right now.
Yes, everything going great for Simon. She's a little bit worried about, you know, what's going to happen and that I don't know if a lot of people know, but I would say, you know.
Well, I mean, Raphael already found out.
Yeah, people know that they found out, and people know he's a vampire.
So yeah, he's friends with a lot of like the most important Shadowhunters, the ones that people tend to know. Like, he's seen around with Jace Wayland and Clarissa Fairchild, the daughter of Valentine. So yeah, I think he's known as like that crew. Yeah. But then this whole status completely elevates him to a place of.
Yeah, so he's being watched.
Yeah.
He's being watched more than he thinks he is.
Yeah.
I think it's all happened so fast for Simon, but he doesn't, and he never was kind of the cool guy.
Yeah, he's definitely not aware of that, what that means for him at all.
Yeah, he's pretty oblivious, and, you know, I think he's going to learn the hard way that maybe, but it kind of sucks. Like, what are you supposed to do? You want to enjoy the sun.
Well, yeah, and I think Simon's going to do his own thing. And that's what he did. He completely decided. He's like, I'm going to set my life back on track now that I have everything's starting to go. Maybe that's what this was. It was like, oh, I went through all of that, so now I get to do this. Cool.
Yeah, maybe I would move, too.
Okay.
Leave New York City?
Yeah, just for a little bit.
Not an option.
You live forever, so you could come back in maybe
but Simon's
10
from
to
Brooklyn.
20.
He would never leave.
Yeah.
But the Simon loving the sun thing, I understood in the first scene with Simon and Claire, because that scene was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah?
Shot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's funny. We just had a kind of like a season 2B premiere thing where everyone that was in LA got together, and I got to talk to some of like the visual effects guys and special effects guys, and they were telling me about why they shot it on a green screen versus a blue screen, teaching me all this stuff. But yeah, that day was really cool because it was the first time in a long time that I was lit for sunlight.
Yeah.
And that actually felt good. It was warm. It was actually warm.
You're so jealous of everyone that gets so many warm lights on them, as opposed to you.
Warm lights and then day scenes too.
Yes, scenes during the day. You've probably had to turn into a vampire, actually.
No, oddly enough, I kind of have. I can't sleep before like 1 a.m, 2 a.m. anymore.
Wow.
I can't fall asleep, and then I just can stay up forever now. I don't know why. I don't have to go to sleep.
You got a little vampire in you.
I got a little vampire. I'm okay with it.
Speaking of vampires still, Raphael, like we said, confronts Simon. And we just keep on seeing him. We're going to get into this with Izzy in a little bit, but he's good. He's not good to you. I'm afraid of Raphael for you. I'm not afraid of him for Izzy.
Mm-mm.
But he's very threatening to you.
Yeah, well, I think he knows that as the leader of the vampires in New York, especially the stature that he holds himself, he carries himself in a way that he really takes that job very seriously. And he knows that Simon already has a tendency to get in positions that could put him in some trouble. Or since he's not aware of the rules or the way that world works, he knows it's kind of his job to make sure that Simon doesn't mess up. And unfortunately, I guess Simon, he's kind of annoyed by him too. So that doesn't help. That he's kind of like a Jace, like this annoying like younger brother type vibe.
Yeah.
But also, Simon seemed to stumble upon the holy grail for vampires. Like that's what the biggest shock and changes in their lifestyle when you become one is having to become a vampire, only live at night. And to break that. And that's really the only limitation they have is that inability to be out during the daylight. Other than that, they could live a normal life. So Simon kind of hit the jackpot.
He did.
Like he said, the lottery. He gets to actually do that with still having the kind of supernatural powers that he gets from being a vampire and living in the world that Clary and this whole other world that has a bunch of magic and beautiful things in it. He still gets to be a part of it, but he gets to go back to being a regular person and maybe seeing his family more.
Well, I don't buy that. I don't think that's going to turn out very well, but...
Yeah, I don't think the family thing is going to work, but...
Well, I would hope it would, but especially with school, all of this, he's really jumping back in 110%, and I am worried for him.
Something's going to go wrong. He's going to, turn someone in, in the normal world into a vampire.
Oh, no, that would be traumatizing.
He's going to, turn his mom into a vampire.
Oh, God, no. God, no. You're getting too dark.
But I think that's one thing that Simon kind of has. Remember, he still has very fresh in his mind the last time he tried to go home.
Yeah.
And so he does have this understanding that while he's diving headfirst into the mundane aspects of his life, going back to familial things and going back to the more mundane parts of being mundane.
Yeah.
He's, I think, doing a little slower.
Well, he's been in a bit of denial, and
it's hard. It's a hard path.
We'll see what happens with that. Speaking of denial, I think Izzy is over her denial and just into full withdrawal.
Yeah, that was definitely full withdrawal.
She's a mess.
Oh, that was so sad. I mean, she did a great job.
Amazing.
Did.
Yeah, no,
oh my God,
absolutely killed it. Yeah.
It was literally, she looked like a heroin addict.
I was like, oh.
I mean, she looked like really onto some heavy bad drugs and very sick. And I thought she did a great job, and Alec is the best. The best brother ever. He's taking care of her. But she escapes when he's out, fighting demons or whatnot, and goes right to Raphael. And this is a relationship I liked, and then I wasn't sure. And this is the part of Raphael that I do enjoy, that he really does care for this woman, and she's a Shadowhunter.
Like, with her, it's one of the few times we actually get to see like a tender side of him. With not every other person we see, he has the hat on of being like the president, the leader.
Yeah.
But with Isabel, he gets to just be Raphael, this vampire who likes the Shadowhunter, and they have this thing, and it's there were nothing else around it. He gets to kind of be more relaxed, I think.
Yeah.
See, about Raphael, I disagree with you. I trust him in all aspects. I think he has.
I trust him too, but I think I think he has his priorities are different. Shadowhunters, it's the rest of the world and the Shadowhunters, and then Simon's kind of just Clary, and then whatever that world. But Raphael is only vampires. The downworld, vampires, and the downworld, and then everything else. And as long as the vampires are safe within the downworld, we're good. And as long as the downworld's safe from the Shadowhunters, we're good. I don't have to worry about it.
Right. Well, I think his heart was broken a bit tonight, though, because he realizes that, she's not coming over here to see me. She's still really...
she's an addict.
She's still very much an addict, and they have a very good scene together. It was great.
Great scene. Great work.
Yeah, when she held up the knife because he wouldn't give her any. And then he looks at her and he just says, like, Isabel. Or he says her name very, he's just so surprised. And goes, wow, this is worse than I thought it was.
So disappointed.
Yeah, it did sound very disappointed, too.
I think it's also he knows that that's partly his fault. And then his attraction to her, he doesn't fully know if it's just because of who she is or because of the fact that he likes to drink Shadowhunter blood. There's that. So he not only has that contradiction within himself, like, am I doing this the way that I would want my vampires to do this, or am I doing this the way that I wouldn't? Like, that I wouldn't have them do it. And then also, like, what is this? It's heavy.
Yeah, it kind of made me think, too, and I'm sorry if this has been brought up, but Shadowhunters turning into vampires. I don't know if anyone's ever talked about that, or, I mean, I'm sure it's a possibility.
I'm sure, well, if a Shadowhunter can turn into a werewolf.
Right.
I'm sure it can happen.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I don't think Izzy will, but it just kind of came to my mind a little bit. And yeah, if they have a werewolf that was a Shadowhunter, then they could very well have the opposite of that. And through all these episodes, and there's Mea next season.
Plot twists.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they have to add that to their Rolodex of, supernatural creatures.
That's so cool. That's something I actually haven't thought about at all. Like Shadowhunters turning into vampires.
Yeah.
I thought about other creatures, but not Shadow. It's so interesting.
Season 4, you guys.
Let's just mix it all up.
Yes. We finally meet Sebastian.
Yes.
Very exciting. You were very jealous of his room on set, you said.
Yes. His apartment is literally the coolest one out of anyone's.
It's very eclectic and you know,
it's also
homey.
like if you walk I walked around it. I was like, this place is cool. He has like Basquiat's on the wall. He has longboards and different like guitars, and the books he's reading are interesting books. They're not just like it's like, and he has his whole kitchen. It's a cool apartment. It's an apartment I'd want in New York.
Yeah.
Like standards.
Yeah, for real though, for real. Goals.
Yeah, now you gotta have Sebastian. You've made it when you actually have Sebastian's apartment.
You have that like beautiful loft.
Yeah, it'd be very cool. Do you think that Simon and Sebastian, will cross paths at all?
Ooh.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I can say that as of right now, you see Simon and Clary still going, like, doing everything great, going for it. You have the Shadowhunters kind of worrying about Valentine. And then, historically, Simon, when it comes to Shadowhunter things, doesn't really tag along.
Yeah.
And since Sebastian's a Shadowhunter, also, he's not part of the Institute. He's kind of on his own path. I don't know when him and Simon would bump into each other.
Very true.
I'm going to save what I was just thinking of for predictions.
Okay. So we see Izzy and Sebastian. He saves her from Azazel.
There you go. Got it.
Saves her from Azazel.
Sam's a pro.
And, don't say that. I'm just going to mess it up in a second. So he saves her. We were expecting him to kind of be this bad, really evil guy right from the get-go. At least I was. And he was lovely and, very helpful. And he gives her something to help with her yin fen addiction.
Yeah.
Which I'm still thinking, what is that?
Poison.
I like that they have that in common, though, or apparently, that is one of the reasons why he left London. And all of his answers to her questions, who are you, why don't I know who you are, they all make sense at the time, but there's a couple fishy things that he says.
See, to me, meeting him for the first time, you get this vibe of like, wow, charming, cool, competent Shadowhunter, very good fighter. Isabel couldn't get out of that, and he did. That's the thing. And then there are just little moments where you kind of are like, that was a little weird. It's like when you meet someone that you're kind of like, you're really cool, and they say something, it's like, that's a little weird, but it's not bad. It was just a little weird.
Yeah.
I'm not settled with him.
Yeah, I'm not either, especially because we see their scenes progress, and by their last scene, he's holding his hand over fire.
Yeah, I have no idea what that's about.
And just, like, burning a hole into his hand.
Was he, like, checking if the stove was on?
I mean...
Sounds like something
I don't know what that was. Yeah, it's like, I think
Let's burn
actually,
holes in
when
it.
I was a baby, I did that. I just, like, stuck my hand in the oven.
Same.
And I was
Well,
like,
I did on the...
no.
well, my dad was like, don't touch the stove, it's hot.
You're like, why
Naturally,
not?
I was like, I need to touch the stove, and I found out it was
Everything.
hot.
I had a lot of mishaps because I was told to not do things.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
and then then the whole mom story, I was like,
yes,
I liked you like 2 seconds ago, and now I don't like you.
Well, okay, so this is what he said, that his mother was a difficult person. She's died, but he loved her. I thought that's essentially what I got.
That made me feel for him, because you get to see they're beautifully done by Will. There's that moment where you see that true like pain but understanding.
Yeah.
Like, this woman just didn't know how to express her love to me, but I knew she did.
Right.
I don't know, that was like a beautiful moment where you see like a humanity in him that I thought was like very for me, that was like a settling moment. I was like, oh, he's not just this guy who's pretending to be nice to Isabel. He has there's a real human part of him that feels things and cares, and that's something that is important when you meet people to realize that they have that ability.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, he's not someone playing something. He actually can be real and vulnerable, and that's something that made me kind of like, I need to see this guy a little more.
This guy's not all bad.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly. This guy's not all
regardless.
bad. Yeah.
We're just expecting an earthquake to happen, essentially. And we go, okay, wait, let's kind of see both sides. And
you're like, oh, he's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy that the writers are doing that to us, because they got me. Like, I already like him, and I'm very excited that he's part of the show.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what happens. But with his mom, do you think he knows that Jocelyn, do you think he knows anything, about himself? I know you can't answer that, but what's the vibe that you got, Becca?
Anything about like
when he's talking about his mother, he's not talking about Jocelyn. She didn't know him. He's talking about some woman that adopted him, maybe, and maybe one of the reasons that she never was so sweet to him was because she knew he wasn't really hers, and maybe she was hiding that from him, and maybe he doesn't know who he really is. I'm not sure. I know, like you guys know, we didn't read the books. I stopped after the first one because I wanted to kind of be on this journey and see what happens with the show. So these are probably questions people can answer. But
I'm gonna think about that question, because
fair enough.
I need to think about it.
Yeah.
But I'm also gonna add that to prediction.
Okay.
And speaking of the whole loft conversation, Danny said that Magnus's loft says hi.
Magnus?
Yeah. Don't say it, because I'm going to start saying it. Oh, no.
Magnus.
You guys, if you've watched the show before, you know that sometimes I have an issue saying Magnus's name.
Yeah.
And it's been a few months, so I'm a little Magnus rusty.
Well, it's contagious, though, now.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
Alberto was saying
So
I'm going to purposely say it.
Shout out to the guy I went to college with from Russia named Magnus, who ruined this whole thing for me.
Oh my goodness. See, I can't do this. I actually have a habit. I found out from a couple of our sound people that sometimes during takes they have me redo takes. Because with Dom, he doesn't like when I pronounce the H's in certain words like what or where.
Ooh.
And I do it. I did it as a joke, kind of like the Family Guy thing. But then it started to kind of make its way into my speech pattern. So sometimes they'd have me redo takes because in a take, Simon would say, what?
I'm gonna listen for that.
Or something weird. Yeah, you might hear it sometimes, but...
That would be awesome if there was some bloopers at some point and you're like, what? Cut.
What?
No, literally, in the middle of a scene, I think it was season 1 where Jace is talking to Simon, and I was like, what? And I looked at him, and Dom just started cracking up. Like, what's wrong? He's like, you said what? And it was like, that scene became very hard because once you start laughing, it's just...
Yeah. You just cannot.
And then I couldn't say the word because I thought I was going to say what instead of what, and then it just got... It became a very hard scene when it was like supposed to be like 3 lines. It would take way too long.
You're like, oh my god, they're going to kill off my character because I'm
going to get bit by a demon that like changes my face.
Bye, Simon. Learn how to say what. That's hilarious. I really wish that they released some bloopers at some point. I'm sure we can find them on YouTube.
I hope they do that this season because I know there were this season especially there were quite a few moments that I would really like to be shared. Whether it's someone saying like a line or, I think someone actually called someone by their name, not by their character name, in a scene a couple times in one scene for some reason. And that was like it was always funny when that happens because everyone kind of goes what?
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 I feel like that would happen like more often than we think, you know?
I do that all the time when people come into the studio. I'm the worst. I'm like, oh, hello, so nice to meet you. Name of your character. I'm like, hey, Archie. Nope, not Archie. Definitely not Archie.
Billie Jean Girl 24 on the chat wants you to call Magnus on set. Go ahead.
You know, I probably will.
I think when Harry was here the first season, I might have done it, like, briefly. And I remember that day, I was like, don't do it. He's actually coming in. So I'm going to rewatch that and remember to see if I did it. And if he noticed, that would be pretty funny.
That'd be funny.
So we have Alec Magnus and Raphael. I love this random trio of people.
Yes.
Raphael has come to talk to Alec because, you know, of this whole Izzy situation, and they go off and they're convinced that it's Azazel that took her. They are very much overreacting, like, just a little bit. They're not, but I know bad things happen, but they were wrong this time.
But at the same time, like, a greater demon escaped. They found all of the evidence that he was in the same place, and then Izzy's necklace broken. That's true. Completely shattered. That necklace was shattered.
Yeah.
So they were like, all the signs were there for them to really think something went horribly wrong.
Yes.
And that, this is what, the second time we've seen a greater demon in the show. And the first time we've seen one that actually left, like, the pentagram.
Yeah.
We see one that actually is like, I wanted to say, messing up the downworld, like really messing things up.
Yeah, and, you know, we...
Filter had to turn off for a second. Sorry.
Really messing it up.
Oh.
You're good. No one would have known until you said that.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so we see, you know, we learn about Azazel a little bit. He is the prince of hell. The
Yes,
prince of hell.
One of the princes of hell.
Sounds-
Yeah.
Yes, he is one of the princes of
Great
hell.
place to be a prince.
And yeah, I mean, it's like, at least you know you're special, but
Like, it's funny. I don't know if a lot of fans, we talked about it earlier, but his name, Azazel, like you said, his name had changed like 4 different times. It started off as like I think Riemann, but then he was like Riemann the demon, and we didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't do that. And then even where he was from, they had other like realms that are in books and stuff that they were going to use. But so Kat was actually on set, and they had to change lines. They're like, no, say these names, no these names, no these names, and then they're all like, they're like Azazels, so they're not very easy to say. So the whole time Kat's just like saying the names like, over and over, trying to get them so that she doesn't mess them up in takes.
Riemann the Demon would have been a fun hashtag, though.
It would have,
but it's a little too on the nose, if you know what I mean.
It's just also just like, you don't want people to Riemann the Demon. It
Yeah.
sounds almost
It sounds
accidentally
like it's a joke.
unimaginative, but it's cool. But it's also like, we could do better.
Sounds
Azazel
like
ends
a
up being
child's
cool.
show.
Yeah. Well, so we find out who he is, and they're all trying to save Izzy. So, like we said, they do the Pentagon, the entire thing, and I just called this the Azazel Disaster. This is the
Yeah.
part of my notes where, I mean, man, looking back on this, they probably are just gonna hate themselves because it didn't need to happen. He was on the prowl. You know, Azazel was hurting people. We knew he was coming close, but they just literally gave him, you know, just got him out.
Yeah.
And it was scary a little bit.
And super unsuccessful.
Yeah, and I thought that they were gonna die.
Well, there's one good thing that came out of that, and that was Jace discovering that he might have some sort of special ability like Clary.
Yeah.
And there's one cool moment that I thought like the book fans would like when his eyes flash gold. I was like,
Oh.
Jace with the gold eyes, I like that.
Yep,
Nice
okay.
touch. Yeah.
I feel like they're
That's
all
what
about
they were
to get,
talking
like,
about.
some letter to a school, like Hogwarts or something. Just, like, a special, like, Shadowhunters school.
Yeah, I mean, they need a vacation. They definitely do need to go somewhere, you know, once they finish saving
You know,
the
like,
world.
everyone just needs like a week off
Yeah.
on a beach.
Yeah.
There you go.
And luckily the actors get to do that, you know.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So, but before we kind of bring him out, we have this pivotal moment that we've been waiting for a very long time, that we find out that Jace, well, we knew they weren't siblings, Jace and Clary, but Clary finally finds out.
Yeah. And they were finally reaching a place where they were cool again. Because they were not cool when they first started, like, when
Their
they first
sibling
met.
stuff.
And the sibling thing got
yeah.
very uncomfortable, made very awkward, and then they finally reached this place where, like, oh, we can be siblings, and we work well together, and that's because we're siblings. And there is this thing here, and it's cool, but we're past this, and it's moving, and then just kind of, like, breaches he breaks the trust that they built.
Yeah.
And again, now they're in this place where it's like,
And,
just,
well, poor Simon.
yeah.
Crap. But like I said, he has ladies in waiting. I think he'll be fine.
I mean, he's not worried
Clary.
about that, though. He's got the one that matters to him.
I know. Oh, look
Yeah.
at you. He's like, it doesn't matter how many I have.
Exactly. Well, it's
I
true.
just
That's how he
want
feels. It's how he's always felt. And that's why this news will
Rock his world.
cause a lot of tension.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like no matter what, though, it's poor Clary because she's gonna break someone's heart no matter what.
Yeah, very true. And before we get into some questions, there's one last thing we need to talk about is Magnus seemingly taking over, or Azazel taking over his body is what I thought. Maybe I'm wrong, but he said something very similar to Magnus when he saw him, when he got out of the pentagram, and he said it again, but something a little bit different. It was very good acting on Harry's part.
Yeah.
Because we just see through that one line and the way that he says it and the way that he looks that's not Magnus.
Yeah.
It's not right at all. But we do find out.
like-
We do find out that that's not that they did switch.
Yeah.
We do find out in the trailer for the next episode,
Yes.
and that's what that journey is now. Like, what's that going to mean? If Magnus is trapped and now Valentine's out, but they're in each other's bodies, and that's where it's going to get really, really. It's going to start to get kind of hairy.
Oh, that was a good one.
I'm
was
pretty proud of
gonna
that one. I'm pretty proud of that one.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna butcher this name, Mayfair, and it said it looked lit, but that was better.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, lit is a fun word, too.
Lit is a fun
I
word.
love lit.
I do
The
like
word
that
lit.
word, yeah.
Oh, God, I feel old. I'm like, I'm
But I have
too
to use it
old for
appropriately.
lit.
You can't use it too much. Like, lit has to be, if it's gonna be as lit as it's supposed to be, you can only use it when things are actually lit. You know?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's great
You
use
can't-
of the
you can't
word.
throw it around. It's gotta be like,
Lit.
Wait.
last night was lit. Really? We just went to Chili's. Wasn't that lit?
Yeah. Was not. There was just a
Not saying
candle.
Chili's can't be lit. I'm just saying.
Delicious. Okay,
Next week's
so
episode
we have
looks
so
lit.
many questions for you. I want to make sure that
Awesome.
we get at least to some of them.
Cool.
Okay, so I have one from Artez Williams, the Artez Will
love him.
21. He's great. Are we going to see any emotional, heartbreaking moments for Simon in future episodes?
In future episodes, I mean,
Of course you
Probably.
will.
yeah, we have a lot of episodes coming, so I hope so. But in the next 10, I mean, we're gonna see a complete journey with everyone. Every character is gonna go through a complete journey, a complete change. A lot of things are gonna happen, and like I said, that first episode was the beginning of that drop down in the roller coaster. So yeah, you're gonna have a lot of heartbreaking moments, a lot of inspiring moments. A lot of this season really does round out and really create something cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What do you got, Becca?
Speaking of the episode next week where the whole switch is happening, Nicole, wait, it's Dario Sinde, so it's like your
Oh, that's
name,
cool.
but-
She loves you
yeah.
guys.
It says if you did a Freaky Friday up and had switch bodies for a day, who would you want Simon to switch with?
Who would I want Simon to switch with? That's interesting, because I can say for each character why I would want to switch with that character. So it'd have to be for a specific reason. Like, I'd want to switch with Luke, because I get to be a cop for a day. And that'd be kind of cool. I'd
I'd
want
be
to switch.
scared for that one.
It'd be kind of interesting, but I would just go do things that I've always wanted to do. Like, hey, don't do that.
You're like, stay in
That would
school.
be
Exactly.
Don't do
Just
that.
because you're a cop, you can do that. But that's also like a very serious responsibility. So Simon would be like, maybe I shouldn't do that because that's technically illegal, impersonating a police officer, even though you're in their body. Still.
I don't think there's rules when you get that deep into it, so no.
But also, it's like, what if something starts to go down and Simon has to like be a Luke? Simon's not a Luke, so he's like, maybe I wouldn't do that. And
That
that's
would be
why
scary.
any other Shadowhunter makes me nervous to say I would want to be a Shadowhunter because they might be like, all right, if he's Isabel, here's your whip. I don't know how to use this. I don't know how to do any of this. So it'd have to be someone that wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe it'd probably be Magnus. It'd
yeah,
probably be
I can
Magnus.
see that.
I would definitely want to
Hopefully,
be
you get the
him.
powers.
Yeah, I would
And
hope
then
the
that's
powers.
you have to learn how to use them, and
Yeah.
that's the game.
I'd hope
Magnus.
those would for sure come with.
Yes.
That is my new answer.
Just no snakes.
Yes.
No snakes.
Okay.
If I was Magnus, I'd be like, no.
No.
We have another question from at Harry Shum Jr., but with one R, so wow. And her name is Moni.
Creative.
Moni is crying, but she has Harry's name on her Twitter. That's,
Okay.
that's kind of cool. Now that Simon is a daylighter, which is great, but what do you think the disadvantages to it are?
Well, the disadvantages are all the pressure that actually comes with being a daylighter that Simon's not aware of yet. As you can see, like 2 people came to warn him about flaunting this new ability. One of them being Maya, kind of be like, yo, by the way, like people don't like when this could happen. But she didn't really go into depth, whereas Raphael was more pleasantly threatening. Right?
Threatening. A little scary.
He did it in a way that was very like The Godfather.
Yes.
But he was like, I need to know this. So now Simon's aware that 2 people from different factions of the Downworld have told me I have to be careful.
Yeah.
Simon's not dumb. So he's like, I should probably start to hide this. Like, even when he talks to Raphael, he was like, oh, yeah, but okay, fine, it's true, but don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
He goes, I already know. So Simon now has to just, again, I think he's starting to learn, oh, man, do I have to start paying attention? Like, he said, he's like, I thought the whole point of this was I don't have to worry. And then Maya's like, no, you do. So now he has his ears up, he's like, okay.
Yeah. All right. That's a good one, though. What else we got, Becca?
I was looking at the chat. Carolina asked their book fans going to be happy with the rest of the season.
Yes. Always. But yes, you will be. Yes, you will be.
And I see also in the chat.
Can't say anything, but you will be.
Yeah. Danielle McGrath said, can you tease Simon's reaction to the Clace sibling reveal or not sibling reveal? Just like what your face will be. Do a face.
Or show you.
That's
interesting news.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
DNA test.
I don't believe it.
So we got, let's see, from Luke Greataway on Twitter.
That's awesome.
Simon and Maya, they have a great dynamic. Will we see them interact more in 2B?
Absolutely. I think now that Simon and Maya, some of the tension's gone. She's apologized, and Simon's like, it's all good. Now there's more of an opportunity for them to hang out. Remember, Simon does live in the boat basin next to Jade Wolf, where all the werewolves are. She's pretty much the one werewolf that talks to Simon, other than Luke.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'll definitely start to talk more, and then as what's happening in our story starts to settle, they have to find people that they can trust.
Right.
Maya might be one of them.
Okay, I have 2 questions from this girl because both these questions are really good. Sabina on Twitter asked, what song would best describe your relationship with the cast?
Oh, wow.
I love that.
Which song would best describe...
It takes a lot of thinking.
Right?
Well, as of right now, you know that song Celebrate?
Yeah.
That's probably what it'd be right now.
Oh, celebrate.
Yeah, we have season 3 coming up. We're all going, we're all on vacation right now, relaxing. So
Awesome.
right now it's Celebrate.
What was the second question from her?
The second one
it's
was...
Work Fabriana.
Oh yeah, work. Oh, it always gets you, in the middle.
Oh, you
to
have
do
to
work.
move, you have to move your hips. To that
Yeah,
song.
you do.
The second question was, if you could give your character any advice, what would it be?
For this coming season, like knowing what I know, or just like generally in life from like one dude to another.
One dude doing
Yeah.
One dude to another. I don't know. I don't know if I feel good giving advice yet. I feel like I'm still learning too much to be able to say I know this works for real. Like, but I could just be like, you could do what I do. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Just like keep going. Whatever you want, keep going for it.
Aw.
Keep working. That's
Even
what
if that's-
that's what I'm working on right now.
Yeah.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to go fantastically. But Simon's, whole thing at NYU, not sure how long that one's going to last, but at least he's trying.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that. And I know so many people have asked us about Sizzy, Simon, and
Sizzy.
Izzy. There was a still that people saw with the 2 of you, and, it's been a thing. We had Sizzy hats made season 1.
I remember that. You guys
Yeah.
had shirts too, right?
Yeah.
We had shirts, we had hats, I still have them. So I shout out to SF Apparel. So cool for them making that for us.
Wow.
But it's so funny. I was working with this lady and she had no idea what I was telling her to make. And it was when the show first came out, and she goes, "I'll make whatever you want." And I was like, "Okay, this is kind of weird," and she made all this awesome stuff
It
for
was
us.
pretty cool. And it's sparkly letters and stuff.
Yes,
Well, that's
very
cool.
very bright. But yeah, can you tease us anything? Can you give us any kind of insight into a direction that might be going to?
I could say one thing.
Okay.
And I could say this next episode, the Izzy fans will be very happy.
Oh.
Okay. I like that. I like that answer a lot.
I do too.
On that note, let's get into some quick predictions before next week.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
And Alberto can just laugh and smile and, just be cute.
I'll predict stuff. I'll throw some stuff in there.
All right. Wow. Okay. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's start with you, Alberto.
All right. I predict that you are going to love this season.
I think that you're right.
I think that's a good prediction.
Yes.
Good
Based
prediction.
on the promos and stuff.
Yeah.
What I was saving for predictions when you were talking about Sebastian and Simon have intertwining.
Yeah.
Was that I feel like them intertwining is gonna have to do somewhat with Izzy.
Okay. I could see that.
Okay.
I just need to ask this because people keep on asking and we forgot to ask of Simon and Magnus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we going to get any more of them together? Or is it, let's just say Harry. Let's say Alberto and Harry together because really right now Magnus isn't Magnus.
I think about it.
Okay. Because we do love their scenes together. It's always
funny.
fun.
No, they have a very good dynamic.
They
but,
do.
There's not really a lot I can tease there.
All right. Okay. Fair enough.
I just don't know how to say words.
Thought
for
I'd
that.
try. It's okay. I think that Clary and Jace are going to very slowly get a little bit romantic, and when Simon finds out, he's going to be very insecure and paranoid. But I think that once whatever happens is going to happen, he's going to become this very confident, even more confident that he's become. He's just becoming a man. He's becoming himself. So we're going to see him kind of, date around a little bit maybe, and maybe have some Maya time. And say that...
Some Maya time.
Some Maya time.
Some Maya
That's
time.
going to be a new thing.
Yes.
Some Maya time.
Hashtag Maya time.
Yes.
But I think all that's going to happen. And the whole thing with Magnus, and he's not himself. He is Azazel. Did it again. And
You're nailing it now.
And Magnus, too.
I did it in one sentence. That is going to continue for a few episodes, and we'll definitely break him and Alec up for a little bit because they were doing too well also. So that's what I think. Oh, and of course Sebastian, we're going to find out a lot more about him. He's going to meet the crew, and he probably did not come there exactly why he told us he did, and came there because he knows of some stuff's going on.
He needs to stop burning holes in his hands.
Yeah, it looks like it hurts. So, some self-infliction there, which no one ever likes. So I hope we figure that out, and he maybe isn't the bad guy we think he is. I know. He has some bad in him. He has some bad in him, but I will say when we thought that Jace was him, we gave him a chance still. We wanted him to be okay.
Yeah,
And we thought he could be.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah. I think it's going to be really awesome having him on the show. So thank you so much for coming
thank you for having
in
me
person,
again.
in the flesh.
No, I'm glad I got to finally come in. It's cool. Yeah.
We are absolutely
so
thrilled.
much better than Skype.
Yes, so much better than Skype. But we still, every time, you're here, we always have a blast. But to have you in person here, we might just steal Simon away. And they might not bring him back on the show because, he's like, I'm bye, gonna leave now. But,
I gotta go. This is so weird.
This is wow, I don't feel very well. Anyways, guys, you are the best, and so are you, Alberto, for coming in. And tune in next week. We have a lot to talk about, and I absolutely think that the next couple shows, all of the shows are going to be freaking awesome, and we are going to have a great time recapping them. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.